welcome back to another episode of the Real Estate Playbook. This is episode number 74, and this week's guest is Kari with Red Door Title. Kari, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to see you again.
I know. I just saw you a couple days ago, but it was good to see you and catch up with you and talk some more.
Yeah, absolutely. So, when we kind of start these podcasts, we like to start with kind of rewinding the tape, figuring out where it all started and how you kind of got to the point you're at now. So obviously now, you're with Red Door Title. I think you've been with them about almost a year now, right?
Almost a year.
Awesome.
In April.
Awesome. So why don't you talk about the journey with Title and also your entire real estate journey and how you kind of got to where you are now?
I was actually just talking with a couple of your agents yesterday at one of our classes that we had because they asked me that question too. They said, you used to be an agent. Like, what made you make the switch? And I kind of explained my little backstory. But when I got into real estate about 5 years ago, I actually was a wholesale profit analysis person. So I sat behind a desk and I ran numbers on investment properties, and I put portfolios together for investors on different properties around the Tampa area, from Spring Hill to Sarasota. So it was a lot of information. I learned a lot about real estate and the fact of like how property and wealth can be built through it. And then I took over as their residential manager. So meaning like when you have a cash offer from a wholesaler, maybe you don't accept it because you think your house is worth more, or your house is worth more. So I would come in and then offer to list it through that brokerage. So I was their listing manager at that point, trying to get those listings under our brokerage. The problem was I didn't know how to do a listing presentation because all I did was run numbers. So I went and got some training from of Keller Williams, which I think a lot of people start there because they do have some great trainings. But I was a solo agent for a little while, did great, had military referrals. And then I met Tony Baroni, and I know you're friends with him. And he asked me we did Bold together, was one of their signature trainings, and he was my accountability partner.
And this is over at KW, was it Suburban or something, right?
Suburban
Brandon?
Tampa. Okay. Yep, over in Valrico. And so he and I role played and did scripts every day for the 8 weeks, and he was like, I really want you on my team. And I'm like, I'm not joining the team, like that's crazy. And he was like, I think we should talk a little bit more. And so we did, and I said, you know what, you feel like a great fit, like this is a family atmosphere, and I really enjoyed that. And I was on his team for about 2.5 years. And I decided to switch over. I really wanted to get into more of a marketing role. I just found that more interesting at the time than real estate, although I still have a love for real estate. And I watch it like a hawk all the time and talk about it constantly. But I wanted to just do something a little bit differently. Plus, I'm a single mom, and I had to watch out for my kids and all that good stuff. So I started with Red Door, and now I do like the marketing and sharing all of my training and my resources with your agents and agents all around the Tampa area and helping people out. That's really where my heart focus is getting them what they need to help them the best way I can.
Awesome. And it's probably good, obviously that with being the position you're at with Red Door now is kind of knowing the pain points of being an agent, right? So kind of knowing what agents are looking for, how to kind of hit their pain points, also how to be that solution, to be a partner with them and help them with their closings, whether it be, one of their sellers or one of their buyers.
Right. I remember when title would not be a smooth thing. It was always like, you were cursing at the gods, at the real estate gods. So I made it a point that when we made our processes and systems that it was agent focused, because I understood where it was coming from, and I wanted the agents to feel like we were communicating effectively and that we're going to take care of them and their customers the best way that I know how from their point of view. 100%.
I couldn't agree more. And then as far as with getting into title, so I'm sure you kind of had this idea or visual of what it was going to be like, making that jump into title from doing real estate for quite some time on your own as an independent agent, working almost with that institutional buyer, and then also working with Tony Baroni and his team as well. But what was probably the one thing or something that you didn't expect from the title company that you didn't have the insight on when you were an agent?
Yeah, and this is kind of a shocking answer when people hear it, but I didn't expect some of the, and none of your agents do this, but the laissez-faire that I get from some of the agents. When I was an agent, I was always at every closing. I had closing gifts. I was talking with title the day before, making sure the Alta was right. I was very on top of things and involved very much. So one of my biggest takes was not all agents are like that. And in that case, I have to go and I make sure that the buyer or the seller is over communicated with. So I was expecting mostly to deal with agents on the phone and kind of just get information from sellers and buyers if needed, or have our processors do that. But I realized that no, I really got to take care of the buyers and the sellers too, and get them informed. And that was one of my biggest things I didn't expect.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. Especially kind of you have the mindset of every time you've seen real estate done, whether it was doing yourself or people you're associated with or organizations you worked or partnered with, it was kind of done one way. You know, you were kind of accustomed to that. And how I'm going to sum it up is agent engagement. You were shocked by the lack of agent engagement and how involved they were with the process and how almost it's like, hey, what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, is, hey, we got this offer accepted, we're under contract. Good luck. Let me know when I check's in the mail.
Some of them, that's kind of how cut and dry they were about it. And again, part of that when I come in to do trainings is talking about your process when you go under contract, your success through the title process, and how to get to the closing table with smiles, from not just an agent, but with an agent and their client. Like, hey, like, we should have a closing gift. That's a good idea. And we should follow up the day before closing, and just train agents, because sometimes, they don't know what they don't know.
Right.
If they've never been taught, they don't taught. So I come from a point of educating and just training and saying, like, this is how I did it, or this is how this team does it. This is how that really top producer over there does it. And you can take what you want and run with it. But these are what the people that know what they're doing are doing, and do with what you will.
Absolutely. No, I couldn't agree more. And as far as like title for, obviously there's a lot of options out there. We've dealt with a lot of title companies. We've worked with a lot of title companies. Some give great service, others not so great. But what are some of the things that, Kari, you and Red Door pride yourself on? If I'm an agent right now and I'm looking to partner with a title company, what's almost the value prop or a couple of the main things that Red Door offers that might be lacking from your competitors in the marketplace?
I'll start that answer off with how important it is to partner with a title company. Pick someone that when you call that title company, they know who you are and you know who they are, and your needs are being met and their standards are being met. First, some people don't realize that they should pick a title company and go, hey, like, these are going to be my people. It's going to be part of my team. But it is very, very important. So why would you pick Red Door? Why Red Door over the many that are out there? We offer so many trainings for you outside of what you can get anywhere, and they're free.
And they're high level too.
And
it's not like watered down minutia you get at a lot of these places.
Exactly. It's not a lunch and learn where you're going to, just get some information, go, okay, well, maybe one day I'm going to need that. It's information you can go and take that day. Like yesterday, we had a social media class that it was the best I've ever taken. And when I gave it yesterday, everyone was very thankful. Like, wow, I had no idea that I was missing out on all of this opportunity in my social media world. And then they went home and changed things. You could see it overnight. People were literally making the changes on their Facebook pages. So that kind of immediate actionable training is something that we offer. We also offer an attorney for if you have some questions. If there's something that's maybe a legal gray area and you want to get some clarification, you don't have to just wonder or Google or ask, around. Call us, get a hold of me or of our processor, and we'll get the answer from our attorney. And then if you do need to pursue legal action at that point, he can take care of it for you. He is our attorney on retainer, so he's able to take care of that for you. That's a huge weight off of people's backs. So that's something else. We offer an easy and safe way to do your EMDs. So if you're you got a listing and you got a buyer and you let that buyer agent know, like, hey, use our direct link. It's our direct deposit link. It's $10 to do the wire versus the $25 that they charge you from your bank, or sometimes more. And it's more secure and it's immediate. And then you can get your receipt, and you don't have to drive to an office, drop off a check. You don't have to initiate a wire from your bank. It's literally just a link, and it goes through, and you're done. I mean, it can go up to tens of thousands of dollars. If you do need an overnighted FedEx label with an envelope, so because you want to send a check, because your clients are just kind of old school, and you've got to work with what you got, and we'll send you that, and you can overnight an EMD check if that helps you out. So we have a lot of ways to just work with you, and we will tailor your title experience to your standards. If you want it done X way, we'll do it X way. You want it done Y way, we'll do it Y way. And help you along the way. Go, well, this is kind of the best practices, and if you want to do it that way, then that's how we're set up. If you want to make some tweaks, we'll do that too.
Yep, absolutely. So kind of what I heard from you, some of the, obviously, not just the reason why to partner with Red Door, but you kind of alluded to at the beginning, make sure that you're partnering with a title company. Obviously, here's a reason or several reasons why to partner with Red Door, and Red Door should be the title company of choice. A couple things you went over: high-level trainings, which a lot of our agents take advantage of. I know you've had the certified real estate investment specialist.
Yes, the Chris training with John Chen. Yep.
And that significantly went up in cost. Everybody took advantage of that.
Yes,
Saved about
and they got it for
$3,500.
free.
Yes. So that's huge. The social media and a lot of other high-level trainings that you've offered. The free legal advice, the free legal consultation for the attorney that you have on staff. And then obviously, if, God forbid, something happened where it needed to be escalated, and they've already had that consultation, they know what to expect and kind of proceed with that attorney. And then also I call it convenience of escrow. If somebody's old school, they want to still mail out the check, you're going to get the prepaid envelope and label, so that way they're not incurring a cost. However, somebody just wants to go on a computer, almost like an online bank, send it there without having to worry about the hassle of a wire. They can do that and get that escrow over to you.
Yep.
In addition to that, I'll let you know some other things that we find valuable here, in addition to what you kind of brought up. One is, I think it's very important when you're selecting a partner that it matches the culture of your organization, how you want it done business, how can we create synergy and almost intertwine. The great thing about Red Door is not only were you able to create the synergy with us here at 54 and align with our principles, but to us it's very important that, hey, anybody we work with, our agents are working around the clock, right? And we're not expecting, to answer the phone any hour of the day, but it's nice when we can get answers to texts, voicemails, or phone calls, emails, if it's after hours, after 5, or on the weekends. So one of the things that we found very valuable is that you guys do go above and beyond. It's not a punch the clock thing. Hey, if it doesn't get taken care of today, we're sorry, we hit that 5 o'clock deadline. And you know how these things go. When you have a buyer or a seller and there's one thing and they don't understand and they just want a quick answer, I mean, it could turn into so much turmoil with them just not, because of the uncertainty of just not getting that quick question answered. So I think the fact that you guys do go above and beyond, you're not just watching the clock, trying to get off, and then, hey, we'll pick it up tomorrow or see you Monday.
What's a clock?
Exactly. I think definitely goes above and beyond, which, most title companies aren't providing for services. Also, I think the fact that here at 54, we're servicing 9 counties right now. So we do closings in 9 counties. You have several locations throughout the state of Florida. However, the one thing is that you're cloud-based. So some title companies are brick and mortar, where you have to come to the office if you want to do the closing. But you guys why don't you talk a little about the cloud base and how you can facilitate closings regardless of where the property is located in the state of Florida?
So first, it's complimentary to the client, the buyer, the seller. The agents obviously don't pay for it either, but we have a complimentary mobile notary. So if you have a seller who's up in Brooksville, and our office is downtown, you got a Brooksville closer, seller, and you want to close on the property, and they do not want to come down to Tampa, we'll come to you. It's typically about a $200 charge to send a notary out to there.
Absolutely.
We compliment that for you.
And that's each party usually, 200 seller, 200 buyer.
Yes, yeah. So whoever is needing to be signed. So if you are not doing your closing in buyer, like let's say you've got it out of state, they've already left, they've pieced out, they're gone, we can send it to another state. It doesn't even have to be in Florida. Like let's say they're closing they moved to Nebraska and their house is still under contract. We haven't closed yet. We'll get that signed and taken care of out in Nebraska, overnighted back over here. No charge to the seller. And then the buyer, the same way. If they don't want to come down to Tampa, we want to meet them at a Starbucks or a conference room, or they've got an office downtown and they want to close in it, or your office. I know you close here in your office sometimes.
Just one today.
Yeah, just one today. And that that makes it so much easier. People don't need to be buying a house stressful enough on all parties. We don't need to add that additional stress of having to come to an office. Now, if you want to come to our office, if you want to come downtown, you're buying a property downtown, you live down there, you work down there, whatever.
Just want to check out the scenery.
You just want to come down. It's a beautiful place. It's right on the water on Harbor Island. And we make our closings in-house very, very special. We pop the champagne. We bring them snacks and treats. We take our pictures with signs outside. You know, they can sit out on our patio, have a nice glass of champagne if they want it, and enjoy the scenery and just kind of relax and say, hey, wow, we just bought a house. And people will come in with just this like stressed out, sweating, grimace, or whatever feeling they're feeling. And then they'll leave just happy, smiling, you know.
Are you giving them champagne before the closing? Is that how you're calming them down?
Everyone calm down. Here's a glass of champagne. Yeah. I wish we would. It probably would make things smoother, but we'd wait until they sign.
A little open bar. Grab a drink, grab a seat. We'll be right with you.
1 hour. 1 hour.
Yeah, and I mean, it's obviously a beautiful occasion, and you make it more like an event, you know, which it is, right? They're celebrating. There's a lot of stress, there's a lot of tension, there's a lot of unknown, there's a lot of uncertainty that goes in with the home selling and buying process. You know, a lot of things still to this day, you know, been in the industry over 15 years now, and at the end of the day, there's something new that still I learn all the time, because there's so many different things that could come up and so many issues, and then just so many parties involved, kind of just bringing that to the closing table. It is an event. It should be a celebration. It's something that y'all do a great job of over there at Red Door. One of the things is right now, too, I know the biggest concern we're hearing in the marketplace, not just from our agents, but also our clientele, you know, buyers and sellers, is wire fraud. Obviously, it's a big problem right now. There's been, you know, unfortunately, a lot of wires that have gone out, obviously, but not to the title company. And there's no way to really recoup those funds.
No, there's zero way to recoup those funds.
If a buyer wires into what's not the title company, and obviously there are some safeguards that you put in place over there at Red Door. Why don't you talk a little bit about the process of wiring, and maybe there's agents out there who are completely unaware of this, and buyers and sellers too maybe haven't heard of this. Explain kind of what's going on, because y'all see it at a higher level than me with the wire fraud, and what are some of the safeguards you've put in place to ensure this doesn't happen to our clientele.
So we've got two types of fraud happening in real estate, very heavily essentially located in Florida especially. We've got wire fraud, that's kind of more of a national problem, and then we've got land fraud. Yeah. So land fraud is super prevalent in the Port Charlotte, Sarasota, a little bit further south than here. Not that anywhere is safe, but that's where it's happening a lot. And I know a lot of, we've had a couple questions from your agents where they've sent the property over just to check. And
I know one almost went down to the wire because he kept proving everything, and at the end there's like several verifications you have for the land. Yep. And Brian Kanicki had a deal that fell apart there because they found out that it was fraud, and y'all were able to figure it out. Yeah,
because it was caught by one of their forms of identification. We are trained, our underwriters are trained, and we are trained, their processors, there's little things, and I could go into detail, but little things about each identification process that if it's just a little bit off, those things can't be off. So if they are, there's a problem, and it's a red flag, and it gets looked into. And then that information goes into a database, and then that database can be cross-referenced whenever there's a question, like maybe they try to do it again, the scammer, it gets caught because it's gone through the database. So for land fraud, if there's ever anything in question, simply send the address with whatever information you have from the person that you think is trying to get the listing, and we'll run it. And it may take 2 to 3 days, but it's better than going through the whole process and finding that it's actually fraud at the end. So that's one of the safe ways, is that we've got that database, and we've got the ability for you to, should there be any red flags, send it over immediately. We'll get right on it. Take a look into it. Now, the wire fraud, we use Qualia, which is our software that supports all of our processing and things like that. All of our email traffic goes through Qualia out to all of our parties. Qualia is an encrypted version of email when we send it out like that, versus using like a Gmail or an Outlook or anything like that. What the scammers are doing is they're watching all of your email traffic everywhere. When they notice words like closing, funding, financing, mortgage, they latch on wire instructions. Anything that has to do with money changing hands, they pick up on those things. They will send you an email pretending to be the title company, pretending to be this company. Their email address is just one little letter off, or like whatever it is. And so you don't realize, and it looks super formal. So when we send out anything, it is bright, bold letters. We say it on the phone. We say it in the emails. Please call to confirm prior to sending your wire. So you actually literally call. And this is the same for a lot of title companies. But you will call to verify the wiring instructions, the buyer or the seller, whoever's doing the funding. And then you have to have it verified on the phone. On top of that, the Qualia system prevents the scammers from even getting a hold of those emails at all. So the less opportunity for them to latch onto those catchwords and then those key phrases that alerts them to start the scam, the less that you're gonna have those problems. So when you get a link from Qualia, go ahead and open the portal. It's a little bit more difficult than signing into your email by 2 clicks, but do it because it prevents the wiring fraud. So we don't want to do that. We have the secure direct link as well that prevents wire fraud, and so just be careful. It's out there.
And then also with the phone calls too, calling to verify, doing that, not only the encrypted message, but just getting that confirmation. You can never be too safe, because once that wire goes out,
people have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands, and it's gone.
Yeah,
it's literally gone.
That quick, and it's so unfortunate right now. And I think hopefully in the future they find a way to safeguard it. I don't know what that would be, but unfortunately, we just dealt with, not with Red Door, but another title company, our first case of it, and nobody's immune to it. So I think you can never be too safe or cautious, and I know you guys do put a lot of safeguards in place.
Right.
To try to best ensure it doesn't happen.
Yeah, a lot of confirming and reconfirming. If a scammer is going to mess up at some point. So if you confirm enough, you'll hopefully catch it, or some kind of red flag will pop up, whether it's land fraud or wire fraud. But yeah, it's definitely out there, and usually agents don't know about it unless it's happened to them or happened to a friend of theirs. They either think they're immune or they don't even know about it. But it can happen at any point, even with a smaller transaction. It doesn't have to be these big hundreds of thousands of dollars being wired. It could be a $5,000. It could be a $25,000. It can happen to anybody. So just definitely be aware.
Absolutely. And another great thing about, I think too, that I just thought of when we're discussing is partnering with Red Doors. I'm out of production, so I typically haven't had the pleasure of experiencing it yet, but you offer a free tech to all of the agents that helps them with their branding, their engagement. I don't know the name, honestly, of it offhand. I know it's List Something. But why don't you talk about, for agents who are partnering with Red Door, another one of your value prop of what is it that you're providing and how can it possibly enhance an agent's business?
Yeah. So something that you and I have talked about before, because before I answer that question, was when you partner with title, that's one thing. But what we have done with 54 is we've have integrated with
absolutely.
you. And that was a word that I think we had used in our last conversation. And I thought that was a genius way of putting that together, because yes, we have stepped in and kind of said, this is what, you've got these gaps that we need to fill. We're going to fill them for you.
Yeah. And it's the integration. I mean, you guys have been great at that because we have a way of doing business. We have systems and processes, and I know obviously every company has their own, and there's few that will kind of break the mold, meaning that, hey, all right, how can we integrate with them? How can we, yes, we might have one way of doing business here at 54, but Red Door with, if you have 5 or 6 large partners, might have to integrate with them. So you might have several processes on the way those corporations or brokerages like to have their business run, want that integration. So that was been awesome that y'all did that, because it makes our job much easier, makes it more convenient, not only for the agents, and I feel once the integration is done, not for the title side as well, but also for the client. It's just a smooth and seamless process.
Because it is, again, super stressful usually on both sell and buy side. So the least we can make them stress, the happier they are with their agent, the more likely they are to use that agent again and refer that agent again. So it's very important. I understand the importance of it just from being in the world. But yeah, so there's a lot so many. There, I could barely touch the tip of the iceberg with it, but there are so many resources. We've got listing to leads, which everyone thinks I'm saying backwards. They're like, don't you mean leads to listings?
That's it.
And I'm like, no, actually, you use listings and your brokerage listings to get more leads, whether they are listing leads or buy side leads. And the best way to go about getting that information is for me to have a one-on-one. Let me take you to coffee or lunch as an agent, explain what we've got. Let me help you literally open your laptop and click through. It takes 30 minutes because otherwise you're not going to do it. You're going to get busy. You're going to get showings and listing appointments and you're just going to forget about it. But let me integrate it, set it up. It's a set and forget. It's like a crock pot. You can just get it in there and let it do its work for you. And what it'll do is capture leads from your listings that you're posting on social media through all the platforms. So that's called Listing to Leads. We've also got a couple of other programs that we've just partnered with Popple. I think a couple of your agents, I think 20 of your agents or so have the little, maybe now that you'll see it, it's a little bracelet and it's there's a bracelet, there's a card and there's a sticker. But basically what it does is it puts all of your contact information in a QR code that when you tap it or someone scans it.
I've seen the card.
Yes. And I had a separate one, but we've now done it with Popple and it's just much more encompassing and comprehensive of YouTube. You can literally put a video that when someone does an intro video will pop up and be like, hey, this is Kari. I'm an agent with 54 and whatever you want to say. And we were talking about using your green screen room to record these videos so that they look a little bit more professional. And we're just making your agents that much better than the next random agent. And it's all those little things add up. So we've got that Popple thing going on. We've got FA Print, one of our underwriters, First American, they have the access to making these direct mailers and printable items that are branded to you and to your logo. And it just lets you have more of a market share, get your name out there, farm your area, keep that campaign going so that people, when they think of real estate in X neighborhood, they think of that agent, they think of you. And that's what we want our agents to be able to find success doing. So we want to give them these resources.
And one of the main advantages I've had from FA Print is the cost.
It's so cheap.
Yeah. It's like cheaper than, honestly, most people are doing it on themselves without having the increase in marketing and selling it. So
it would be like cheaper than handwriting.
Yeah. It's insane. Yeah. We've been pleasantly surprised at the cost.
Yes. And so I heard about this resource and I said, I must have this for my agents. And so as a team, at Red Door, we said, yes, let's do this. And so we're putting that all together. We've also got something called the Title Toolbox that's coming out. That's also something that we've recently set up, but it's going to be another way for you to farm your area so that you can farm, reverse prospect, things like that will be all encompassing on one website. You used to have to do that through like Remind, and then you'd have to scrub your data, and then you'd have to get it the direct mailer.
Process, yeah.
It was like 5 different companies. You had them all talk to each other. Well, this is all in one. And so and you can even send out just one flyer. Like, I just want to target that house because I know they're going to sell their house in a year because they're getting divorced or whatever it is. And you just want to target that one house in that neighborhood. Okay, that's simple. But you can also target a neighborhood, a zip code, whatever it is, and we can put those things together to scrub that data. Like, hey, I only want to market to people that have at least $200,000 in equity in their home, and they're not an absentee owner, or they are an absentee owner, or whatever it is that fits your perfect client. Let's market those people with your branding and all of that good stuff. And we want to help you get your hands on that resource. So that's what Title Toolbox is. And so that's coming. It's not there. It's coming.
So you get a sneak peek here for everybody what's coming down the road.
Oh, your agents hear from me enough. They know it's coming. But yes, once it's actually in the office and ready to go, they're going to be happy with it.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I learned a couple things too. I knew about the FA Print. I knew about the list leads.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I just make sure I don't switch it around. But I did not know about the Title Toolbox and the other. I saw the Babel. What was it?
The Popple.
Popple.
We're going to do a workshop, and it's going to be called What's Poppin'? And so we'll teach you how to use your Popple and use it effectively so you don't just end up with another bracelet.
Yeah, or another card.
Or another card.
As most people do. So as far as if I'm a new agent, obviously kind of went over a lot, right? And I'm a new agent. I might understand like, hey, listening to you, or I need to kind of partner with the title company. You got a lot of great tools and resources. But if I'm coming from, I want to protect my client. What are some things that partnering with a title company that an agent can find resourceful? What kind of information could be provided to them prior to maybe taking a listing, or if they need to check something with title company? What are the advantages of partnering with a title company like that from, again, information, educational standpoint, and what are some of the resources and tools that you provide?
So one of the things for an agent who's got a listing and they want to like, hey, make sure this listing goes really well. I want to make sure I nail this listing presentation, or once their listing agreement is signed, that everything goes smoothly. Send us the property, and we'll do what we call a green light listing. We'll go ahead and clear and scrub that property, everything except for the municipal liens. We'll go ahead and get taken care of. We'll go ahead and pull the tax records. We'll do the property search, the title search. We'll start all of that so the ball is rolling and you're not, caught off guard. If there are, once you do go under contract, that file's already set up. It's already in the system. It's already rock and rolling. It clicks go. We go ahead and hit that municipal search. If there are any outstanding liens or anything like that, you are aware of it early in the process. So you can go ahead and take care of that, negotiate whatever you need to negotiate to get that taken care of. So that's something like a security blanket for when you're doing a listing presentation, and you can kind of give that your seller that peace of mind, like, we're going to go ahead and take care of it just in case there's something we didn't know about. So that helps them. The other thing is we over communicate, and we stress this with our processing team and with our customer relationship team. We over communicate. Buying a home or selling a home, if you haven't done it, if you don't do it all the time, it's a scary process. We want to make sure that the seller knows who to call, about what, and if they don't even know what to ask, hey, we're going to go ahead and tell you the process. We'll check in with you in 2 to 3 days. This is what we're going to look for next. We don't need it now. And it's a phone call. It's an email. It's a follow-up text message so that the seller or the buyer or whoever we're dealing with at the moment is not left wondering and then calling their agent at 9 o'clock at night with an absolute hissy fit wondering what the heck's going on, because nobody wants that.
No, not at all. And also, too, a tool is the seller net sheet, where you're able to, before the listing appointment, like as you alluded to the green light listing, the seller net sheet where you can kind of get the cost and have the estimate of the calculator from the website, have it branded on the app. So it's co-branded to you as the agent, and it looks exactly like what the net proceeds would be for the seller.
And you can just text it to them.
Yeah.
And so it shows up as a graphic on their phone, and it's got your name and your picture and all your information. It's like nice and neat and pretty. And you can just text it to them and say, this is what we're expecting at this price point, blah, blah, blah. And on the buy side, too. Like, you're going to buy a house, you can put in the buy side calculator and go, okay, if we put 20% down at this price point and we're going to get this interest rate, this is what we're going to look at as a monthly payment. If we're going to choose title, if they're going to choose title, whatever it is. And it kind of clears up a lot of questions. So people aren't going, well, like, how does that work? Yeah, because people don't know. A lot of people don't know.
No, you're absolutely right. Obviously, you guys do go above and beyond for the communication and the education, too. It's not just communicating with, like, junk spam or drip campaigns. It's really providing value, whether it's through trainings or how to get more business for an agent, or learning, hey, what exactly is a title policy? What is it? What are the types of ownerships? If you're bringing in high-level speakers like John Chen with, his class, or you're running the social media class.
He's coming back in May.
In May?
Yeah, that's also a sneak peek. He'll be back in May. We're kind of putting together like a mini panel, because what happens with John is he teaches such a great class.
Yeah.
People have so many questions afterwards that there's no way he can get to them all. So what we're doing is like an hour. Actually, it's a 2-hour class, but then afterwards there's a panel. You can come to both or just one. You can come to the class if you've already kind of been to that class and you're like, I just have a ton of questions, so I would love to go to the Q&A. Then we're gonna you can come to that portion.
Awesome.
If you want to start from the beginning, go to the class and join the Q&A, and then we're gonna have a little happy hour, John Chen, over here afterwards, and kind of get to know him on a personal level. Like, hey, how did you sell 2,400 homes like without spending a dime of his own money? How did that do
and he
that?
goes over that. And
Amazing.
Obviously, if you're kind of getting into that investor realm too, slowly build a portfolio, you can go over the property management, because he also offers that service as well.
He does, and that he has one in Orlando and he has one here locally. That their standard for property management is higher than I mean, you can run into some bad property
Yeah.
managers. And so they've really got their systems and models down for their property management. They keep their fees down low because of the way it's structured. They're not nickel and diming you for every little thing. That's kind of like an overall package, and they take care of a lot. So there's a lot with that with John Chin. But then, yeah, we have a lot of other. Just if I wouldn't go to it as an agent, if I wouldn't waste my time on it as an agent, I'm not going to bring it to you.
Yeah.
So if I'm bringing a class, it's because I would have raised my hand and been at that class as an agent, or my boss would have told me to go.
And it's from you having that intuition too, and that knowledge of being an agent, what's important, what's not. So you're kind of able to decipher. You're almost like the governor for the agents of like, hey, we're not going to waste our time with that. I know there's not going to be value in that because I wouldn't have found value when I was an agent.
The value gatekeeper.
There you go.
For the agents.
The preservation of
yes,
value.
I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to make sure it's worth it. And there'll be food.
You should put that on your business card, value gatekeeper. I like that. That's a good job title.
Don't tip me, I might.
Well, Kari, it's been a pleasure having you on this week's podcast on the Real Estate Playbook. For any agent out there looking to partner with a title company, maybe they want to learn more about Red Door Title. Maybe they have some questions about one of the systems or one of the processes that you guys offer. Or maybe they're wondering, hey, would Red Door be we're doing business on a larger scale. Would this be a good integration? Could Red Door possibly integrate with our company? What's the best contact information? We'll put it on all the social media sites as well. But what's the best phone number they can reach you on and best email address?
So my phone number, which you can call or text anytime, I can respond. Again, what's a clock? I understand that real estate is happening all the time. If you have an immediate question, don't hesitate to text me or call me. Like, I will help you, I promise. And if I can, I will say, hey, like, let's get back to this in the morning because I've got to check with my processors. But 843-324-2420 is my phone number. So that's South Carolina, Charleston. Yeah. So I wanted to keep it because people say that all the time. They're like, oh, Charleston. And then I've got a best friend for life. So, and then Kari, Kari, at Red Door Title Group, I know it's long, .com. But then Facebook too, because we post all of our events. So I've got Red Door Title Tampa Bay is our Facebook page, and we post all of our events there. We've got all of our information. A lot of reminders for just things in the market, our market update or whatever you got going on. And then just follow me personally at my normal Kari Clagett. Find me on Facebook. There's two of me. There's one that's like got a crazy face. That's the old me.
There you go.
That's not me. There's also one of me like all professional. That's me.
The one to follow.
And I post. I remind things. Get to know me on a personal level, so you understand how much I live and breathe real estate because you'll see it on my Facebook page, and then you'd be like, oh, okay, this person might be worth partnering with.
Well, also, too, don't forget, too, if they're looking to get out on the water,
Oh,
one of the other things that you've done for the agents. Yeah, but we can talk about a little bit of closing.
Man.
You got to do the boat tours down there in Davis Island.
That's right, and we will not drown you. I promise.
That was just our crew.
Red Door promise.
I think that was a 54 thing more than a Red Door thing.
I like to test the fortitude of the agents by putting them at the front of a boat and seeing if they can drown us or not.
Yeah. It's a sink or swim technique, right?
Exactly. Not all boats sink or swim or whatever that saying is. So something that we do that helps agents kind of build that bond with their clients, if you would like to go take a tour of downtown Tampa on the water in the harbor, our office is on the marina. We walk down, we jump on a pontoon. I drive you around. I know that sounds crazy, but I do it all the time.
Got the captain license.
That's right. And everybody enjoys it. I enjoy it. We have lunch. We have some champagne or whatever you would like as an agent on the boat. And that client just remembers that. That sticks out in their mind. Whether they're buying waterfront property or not, whether it's their first time living in Tampa or not, get that experience with them. And then it's free to you. So why wouldn't you?
Absolutely. You might as well take advantage of it.
I know. Just come on the boat, and it's a great afternoon. It's a great thing to do. I do take agents out. Just maybe they're having a rough time and they need some morale, and they just want to decompress, get out of the office, talk to some other agents, get their frustrations out, and kind of be like, yeah, all right, let's get back at it. So that too, and I think I was talking with your agents at the party. They were like, when's the next boat day? And I'm like, I guess when it gets warmer.
Yeah, a little cold out right now.
Yeah.
Well, Kara, we greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time. We definitely value not only your time today, but our partnership with Red Door. It means the world to us, and We thank you for being our featured guest on episode number 74. And we thank you all for tuning in to another episode of the Real Estate Playbook.